Hello, I'm Aquila, and this is the curious case of how my wife Priscilla and I ventured from Italy to Corinth, turning a fresh page in what you'd call our life's manuscript. Now we weren't your average tourists seeking sun-drenched holidays along the Mediterranean. Oh no, we were expellees, shooed away from Rome because Emperor Claudius decided one day that he'd had enough of us Jews. Landing in Corinth, a bustling hub of trade and chaos, we were as out of place as sandals in snow. But life has its twists, and soon enough we found our niche: tent making. Not the most glamorous of trades, but when you're in a pinch, you make do. Plus, pitching tents was quite symbolic for us, setting up a new life from the ground up. Our tent-making venture was like a comedy show. Imagine two Romans trying to handle Corinthian leather for the first time. Priscilla stabbing her finger with a needle, me entangling myself in a heap of canvas. Our shop was less of a workshop and more of a slapstick stage. Then, as if scripted by a playwright, Paul entered stage right. Yes, the Paul, apostle of Christ. He was a tent maker too, which made our first meeting less about pleasantries and more about who could stitch faster. Spoiler alert. Paul was no match for Priscilla's nimble fingers. Working side by side with Paul, we found a rhythm to our days and a new purpose to our stitches. Our conversations wove through the threads of theology and philosophy as seamlessly as our needles through canvas. It was during these talks that Priscilla and I truly began to understand the fabric of our faith. As our expertise in tent making grew, so did our roles in this nascent community of believers. It was a peculiar feeling, finding stability in our faith while our hands crafted shelters for others. In those moments, surrounded by rolls of canvas and the hum of Corinth, our little workshop became a sanctuary of sorts. After some time in Corinth, with our tent shop humming along, Paul proposed an idea. Why not take our show on the road? Literally. So we packed our bags and quite a few tents and set off, turning each stop into an opportunity not just for business, but for ministry. Traveling with Paul was like being in a traveling circus. Here we were, three tent makers, roaming from city to city, talking about a heavenly kingdom. The irony wasn't lost on us, and it sure brought a chuckle every now and then. From pitching tents to pitching faith, Priscilla would quip, her humor always timely. One of our memorable stops was in Ephesus. This city was a hub of commerce and, let's just say, diverse spiritual practices. Here we were, simple tent makers by day, and by evening we turned into defenders of the faith. Our debates weren't just theological, they were theatrical. Picture this: Priscilla standing before a crowd, using a tent pole as a prop, explaining the strength of the gospel compared to their flimsy idols. It was satire and sermon wrapped in one. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. There were days when our message seemed as tangled as a knotted tent rope. Yet those were the days we learned the most. Every puzzled face, every skeptic, sharpened our understanding and our resolve. Priscilla and I often laughed at our own mishaps, like the time I accidentally used a religious scroll as a tent patch. "Holy patchwork, Aquila!" she had exclaimed. Through all these travels, our bond, both as a couple and with the communities we touched, grew stronger. Our little tent-making business had turned into a mission, sowing seeds of faith across the land. We were building more than temporary shelters. We were helping lay the foundations for eternal homes. Settled back in Ephesus, our lives took on a rhythm of their own. By day, our hands worked the familiar dance of tent making, and by night, our home became a beacon for those hungry for faith. You see, our house wasn't just a home. It was a meeting place, a church before churches were ever built from stone. The humor in our daily life didn't wane. It flourished. Priscilla was always quick to find the lighter side. One evening, as we discussed deep theological matters, she likened the Holy Spirit to a strong wind. Always refreshing, but good luck keeping your tent up. Her wit was as sharp as a tent peg and twice as grounding. And there were countless times when our ministry teetered on the edge of high comedy and farce. Like when I attempted to demonstrate the stability of our faith using a poorly secured tent, only to have it collapse around us, leaving us in a heap, laughing under a canvas canopy. "Well," I chuckled, pulling the fabric off us, "our faith might be invisible, but it sure holds up better than this." Through all these moments, what truly amazed us was how our humble efforts mirrored the greater work Christ was doing with his church. We were building small, everyday connections, crafting a community bound by more than trade or tradition, but by a shared hope and faith. As our time in Ephesus drew to a close, the legacy we hoped to leave was clear. Not just as tent makers or transient teachers, but as pillars in a growing family of believers. Our story, humorous mishaps and all, was but a single thread in a much larger tapestry being woven by hands far greater than ours. So, as you reflect on our tales of tents and testaments, I invite you to delve deeper into the scriptures. There, between the lines of history and faith, you'll find the best parts of our story, and perhaps the beginning of your own. Remember, the good book always has more to unfold. Thanks for joining us on this journey through the lives of Priscilla and me, Aquila. If you enjoyed our tales, please like, comment, and subscribe for more inspiring stories from the Bible. Don't forget to ring the bell to stay updated. Share this video with friends and family, and check out our other videos for more captivating content. See you in the next video.